everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. And Merry Christmas, everybody. And what could be better for me? What could be a better Christmas present than for the VeryVera Christmas show to feature Nathalie Dupree? Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. And you know, Nathalie has written 14 cookbooks. She is a James Beard award-winning cookbook author, which is like the Oscars of cookbook writing. She has been on over 300 television shows, and we're going to be inserting some of the footage from some of her original works, which is amazing. She's in so many culinary organizations, and she is the queen bee in terms of some of the other special guests that I've had that have all worked with Nathalie. So when you said yes to me, it was like I won the lottery. So thank you so much for joining us today. And what are we going to be preparing?
Well, you're doing such a good job. We've got this lovely fennel and citrus salad, and it's fabulous. Shall we do that first? Or
we are. We're going to do that, and what else are we going to do?
Grits and greens with shrimp. Oh, it's so good. And then finally, we have Mrs. Dull's apple cake.
Well, it sounds like a low country Christmas to me, so I'm going to get started on supreming the citrus that's going to go in there. And you can pay attention, but I'm also going to pull that out in Vera's corner. And then you're going to, it is a fancy name, and you're going to get started on the fennel.
Okay.
All right, so fennel is, you know, some people like it and some people don't. But as a child, I grew up eating licorice, so I actually really love that flavor.
Right, and it's a very mild taste. I like it better raw than I do cooked. People like it the different ways. And it's kind of a nice substitute for celery when you want to freshen something up. But if you don't have it...
Because it stays crunchy.
Yeah, it stays crunchy and crispy. That's what I like about it.
Okay. And so then the dressing to this
salad.
I know.
I was so worried.
I cut up fruit for my husband every night, so I'm really good at this.
Oh my God, you are a bullet on that. You are just terrific. Wow. Yeah.
So what all goes in the salad dressing?
Well, this is a terrific salad dressing. It's I've got some grated lime in here and lime juice, and I've got oil there. And you know, you could use that pecan oil. I bet it'd be good. And then here's a little garlic, and let's go ahead and let's mix all those together later.
Okay.
And just whisk it all together. You can whisk it slowly, and it might emulsify. And then shall we just...
Okay, so then I'm going to bring the onions over, and this is actually going to be quite colorful when we're through with it.
Yes.
The garnish on this is going to be a little bit of spring onion, and then you know, Nathalie, I'm a big fan of the Fresh Market, and their deli section has some of the greatest cheese selection in it, and so this is a really great goat cheese that I'm going to be using on this salad too.
Oh, well, you told me not to use my hands.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you can use your hands.
I was about to.
And we're going to put some peppers in there as well.
Yep. Red peppers, aren't they pretty?
You know, and citrus is so prominent this time of year. So, you know, whether you're doing a salad or, you know, just having this cut up for breakfast, it really will be good.
I'm just going to put this in here and toss it again. And it'll stay that way. You know, this is one of those things you can do ahead of time.
Oh, look at that. It really is covered. I'm trying to get the seed out of here. Swimming around in the juice. Oh, my gosh.
Too bad it's not an egg.
Okay, can I add a little bit of tricolor pepper?
You can, and just a dash of sugar after we taste it, but...
Okay.
You know, you want to get rid of all that... it's citrus.
Well, I am going to use my hands. Look at that.
Well, then I can.
You got to do this.
You got that.
All right, so we're gonna keep tossing. We're gonna add the delicious dressing, and when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on the shrimp and greens and grits.
And I've got the goat cheese on top.
Okay, so come back with us in just a few minutes. Oh, this is so much fun. Welcome back, everybody, and I'm just going to pop this salad in my Sub-Zero refrigerator. Makes me keep it nice and neat. And Nathalie, while we were away during the break, we got a little bit more of the citrus done and added. We threw in a little bit more goat cheese and then tossed it up, and it is absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait. It smells so good, too.
So refreshing, too.
All right, so now we're getting started on the shrimp and grits with greens.
Right.
Okay.
You're going to love it.
I'm going to love it. I know I will.
Right, right.
All right, so what have you got there?
This is milk and water, just enough water that it doesn't boil over. And you have to remember, no matter what grits you buy, no matter where they come from, 4 to 1, liquid to grits.
4 to 1
because
is the rule.
A loose grit you can get drier, but a dry grit you can't get runnier.
Okay, well, that brings up a good point. The individual piece is a grit.
Right. I guess
the
so.
whole thing
not really
is grits.
I'm not sure. I think an individual piece
but
is
grits
a grit.
is.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Right. You got it. That's
Okay.
what Craig Claiborne said, and he was the guru.
And he knew.
He knew. He worked for the New York Times.
Well, you know, in our Southern culture, and certainly in the low country cuisine of cooking, you know, grits are not just for breakfast.
No.
I mean, they can be the base of a plate presentation with a piece of sauteed fish or grilled fish. We're making a main dish out of this by adding the greens that we're going to add in just a few minutes. So the secret in terms of getting the consistency that you want is the use of the liquid and at what point you put it in and add to it.
And I stir them in, but also I do mine in the microwave.
That is so interesting, Natalie.
I'm so lazy. You know, I couldn't stand and stir for 40 minutes.
Y'all listen up.
So I just put it in the microwave and I hit whatever minutes, I think, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending. It's not any faster because it's all cooked by how much is in there.
Exactly.
But so it's not any faster. But for those of us that stop and answer the phone and then forget to go back, you know, that's it. So here is.
Okay, so we went ahead and did some because needless to say, these are the real McCoy.
Right, and I do like a loose grit, so I'm actually going to add this a little earlier. And then we have Parmigiano Reggiano. Yep.
You know, Natalie, how in the world did you get started in the TV part of culinary? And you were just a pioneer in that. How did that happen?
Well, I was terrified, but somebody just asked me to do it.
That's a little bit of garlic.
Yeah. Have to always have a little bit of garlic in grits. And then let's go ahead and add, some butter. You have to have butter. You know, you just want people to think it was so good. They want you, when you're dead and gone, they want to remember. You want them to remember you when you're dead and gone, you know.
That's right.
Say, oh, if only she was here to make those grits.
Well, and you know, of course, it's not shrimping season right this minute where we live, but the fresh market always has that wonderful shrimp. And it's just, I mean, I might as well have said that I went out and caught that at the end of my dock.
It's wonderful. And you know, if your grits are hot enough, you can actually cook the shrimp in the grits.
I'm going to go behind you
or
real
you can,
quick
or you can put them
and get that heat up just a little bit.
And then just stir them in. So if they're hot enough, they will turn. And then I have to get a handful of spinach, just enough to wilt. It just wilts right in there.
Well, Natalie, did you have a mentor in the?
You know, I didn't. Julia was very good to me, but nobody told me what to do except for Martin Yan. Martin Yan, when I wrote him and said I was going to be, that someone had offered me to do a television show and I didn't know what I was doing, he sent me a 4-page letter on how to do a television show.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
What a prince of a fellow.
Well, I want to certainly encourage everybody to look at the video that is on Natalie's Facebook page because it really clearly tells the story. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on the dessert that is so simple and is going to blow your mind how delicious it is. So come back with us in just a few minutes as we continue with the shrimp grits and greens.
Vera's Corner is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
The Supremes was my favorite band in high school, but it's also a fancy word for how to section a grapefruit or an orange. So today I'm going to show you a quick way to do that. So not that kind of Supreme. Start by slicing off the end of your citrus fruit. Then begin to cut the peel away from the flesh of the fruit. Make sure you're leaving very little white pith on the fruit. Then slice off the other end. And to Supreme, slice between the walls of the fruit to remove the fleshy segments in between. Be very careful with that sharp knife. And then when supreming is complete, squeeze out the juice from the remaining fruit. Eat raw or in your favorite salad. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining us, I'm with my good friend Nathalie Dupree from Charleston, and she is the queen of Southern cooking.
You say so.
Where's your crown, Nathalie? But we're kind of putting together a low country Christmas today with some of her now famous recipes, whether they're her recipes. In fact, she said to me earlier, there was no original recipe. No recipe is absolutely, authentically yours.
No.
It was created somewhere else and you've tweaked it.
Absolutely. Or you've taken someone else's system and applied it to your own, you know.
So hopefully this is a twist.
Right. I added more cream and milk and it looks more like a white sauce. And then I added...
That is going to be so good.
I have all these wonderful shrimp, and they've turned pink. But, you know, if you wanted to pre-cook your shrimp, you could throw it in there, too. It didn't matter.
We are going to get started on a recipe that's out of Mrs. Dull's cookbook.
Right.
And, Nathalie, when I got married, you got two things. You got the joy of cooking, and you got Mrs. Dull's cookbook.
That's right.
So this is an apple cake.
Right.
But you've got a little story why I start whipping up these eggs and brown sugar.
She was from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She was their food editor, and she was just dominated Georgia and the South.
Right.
She was so prolific, and in that position for so long. Well, she published this in 1928. And Bess Truman used that recipe as Ozark pudding for when people asked her for a recipe.
Oh, wow.
And it was also taken by the Huguenot Tavern in Charleston.
Right, and that's a very famous place. That's Charleston Receipts cookbook.
Right, and they served it, and she called it Huguenot Tort. But it's all Mrs. Dull's apple cake.
Well, you know, when I got the book, of course, I knew that I had arrived because now that was going to be in my kitchen. Right. But honestly, I really never cooked that much out of it. So when you sent us your ideas for this show, I thought, Mrs. Dull's cookbook. Why did I never make this recipe? It is delicious.
I just love her, and she did things easy, you know. The thing is, you had to know how to cook to use her, but you can read her and get great ideas still. So.
Well, when we were testing this recipe, one of the things that's unusual about it, and I'm going to start smearing this butter, is it's a cake made in a pie plate.
Isn't that weird?
So I thought, what in the world? And, you know, generously smearing this butter all over this pan is essential to it being able to cut into a slice.
Of course, they could put parchment paper on there, but... You know,
but this is more fun.
This is more fun, that's right.
And then this is kind of the fruit cake version of what you're getting ready to do here now.
Well, yes, exactly. You want to, we took out that fourth a cup that you already took out of the mixture of the baking powder and stuff and flour. And then we mixed together that with the apples. And as you were saying to me, it's what you did for a fruit cake.
Exactly.
That stops it from falling to the bottom.
And you know, you get in the kitchen and you start reminiscing. Like doing that in the test kitchen, I could see my mom and my grandmother this time of year making fruit cake. I never really liked it. But, okay, so I'm gonna add in, I pre-sifted the flour and the baking powder and a little bit of salt.
And that's what we took the quarter of a cup out.
Right. So I'm going to move this over, and we're going to let you have that. And now I'm just going to whisk this together. And then if you'll throw in the fruit, let's get that a little bit together. I mean, look how easy this is. And, you know, we were talking about the fact that, you know, quick dessert, you know, people are coming over. What are we going to have? And all these ingredients you probably have in your house.
You have them at home, and we always keep apples on the table. So we're big fruit eaters. So.
Well, and Nathalie, you know I do my little summer camp with children. And I'm always liking to think about things that we could do with the children. And so there's so many parts of this recipe that if you were looking for, you know, grandmothers out there or moms that are trying to see if it's time to get your young person in the kitchen with you, this would be a great recipe to start with.
Perfect.
Because they could think that they had made a cake.
That's right.
But it wasn't that hard to do.
And said I made a cake.
Well, Natalie, in terms of, what are you up to these days? Tell everybody what projects you're working on and that sort of thing.
Well, I still do things for the Charleston Food and Wine Festival when they ask me, and I just promoting this book, which is the Mastering the Art of Southern Vegetables, and I'm working on my memoir.
All right.
But I love Facebook.
Oh, I know.
Following you on Facebook.
I know it. I'm so happy. We're going to get this at the oven, and when we come back from the break, I'm going to mimic a Southern living tablescape, and we're going to see what all of this looks like. So come back with us in just a minute. Oh, Natalie, we have certainly done our job today on putting together a low country Christmas.
Indeed.
Oh, I just think everything looks beautiful. Okay, so why don't we just walk through all of the different things that we prepared today?
Well, I just picked oranges in my own yard.
Oh, my gosh,
in my garden
in Charleston.
So that's definitely low country, and I have Meyer lemons too. But here's our lovely citrus
and I
fennel
have some
salad.
on a plate.
Yes.
So I'm just going to take a quick little bite. Oh my goodness. And isn't it beautiful?
It's so pretty.
It's such a pretty dish.
Yeah.
And then the shrimp and grits.
Shrimp and grits with greens. Just a little perk them up. Got to get your veggies in.
Absolutely.
And Parmesan in there too. And then, it's not as pretty as it tastes, but it sure does taste good.
And that is the truth. And of course, we've plated it with a little bit of vanilla ice cream.
Right.
And it's just the perfect, quick, simple dessert. It's just as good at room temperature as it is really warm out of the oven. So to make this low country Christmas, I've thrown in some greens. And I could have asked you to bring some really fantastic greens from the Charleston area. We did bleached pine cones last week on the VeryVera show.
That's fascinating.
And then to make it low country, I have a home in Beaufort. So some of my Christmas ornaments just pick that. I've got my crab, which was the first ornament when my husband and I got married, and then his captain. Of course, when we're out on the boat, he likes to think he's the captain, but we know who the captain is right now.
Well, we know they're all perfect.
But anyway, it just, you pull your theme together in the way that you present, which I absolutely love. And then, when the Christmas issue of Southern Living magazine came out, and I still love to get the magazine, and I was flipping through it, and there was an idea for a place setting, and it was called Retro, and I'm thinking, am I getting so old that now I'm retro? And I thought, look at all the things in the magazine. So we have duplicated for our place setting for this table everything out of the Southern Living book, from the beaded charger plate that, to the china. I had the nutcracker, I had the silver ornament, the crystal goblet, the silver goblet.
And you even spelled my name right.
And I even spelled your name right, which I'm sure that you run into that from time to time. But it just goes to show you that you can, find that enjoyment back again. And, and even the big Christmas lights are coming back in. So I thought, why did I get rid of those at the yard sale? So that's been quite a bit of fun. We have certainly put together a great theme today. You've given us tips on, for example, that this cake needs to be cooked in a glass pie plate.
If you cook it in another kind of a pie plate, you're going to have to adjust the timing, because if it's thicker. So, and of course, a little powdered sugar if you didn't want to serve whipped cream or ice cream on top.
And then you also said that a lot of times you cook your grits in the microwave. So we're learning from the expert today, which we continue to learn from the expert. She has had so many mentors along the way, all of whom are friends of mine. So the fact that you were able to join me today means so much.
Well,
and I encourage everybody to go to Natalie's Facebook page to follow what she's doing at her young age of managing to figure out how to stay youthful in her enjoyment of her profession and what she's done for women in the culinary world.
And to VCR. What is it now? DVR.
It's DVR, the VeryVera show.
Talk about retro.
So I want to say to you that no matter what you do it in good taste. I have certainly enjoyed having a tasteful friend with me today. Come back with us again next week for the VeryVera show. Bye.